Welcome to MarketPath Consulting, where the focus isn't on giving you another strategy, but on helping you build a trading system that actually lasts. Most traders don't fail because they're not trying. They fail because they focus on the wrong things. They keep searching for better entries, better indicators, better strategies, but nothing really changes. Because the real issue is not the strategy, it's what's behind it. In this video, we're going to break down what actually creates consistency in trading, why most traders stay stuck, and what needs to change if you want real progress. Let's get into it. When traders hear the word consistency, they usually think it means winning more, but that's not really what consistency is. Consistency is about doing the right things repeatedly, not getting lucky on a few trades here and there. And if you look at what actually creates consistency, it always comes down to a few key things. The first one is having a repeatable process. Most traders don't actually have this. They wake up, open the charts, and decide what to do in the moment. One day they're trading breakouts, next day they're looking for reversals. There's no structure behind their decisions. A repeatable process means you know exactly what you trade, when you trade, and what you're looking for. So you're not guessing every time you open the charts. The second part is risk control, and this is where a lot of traders struggle without realizing it. They might say they risk 1%, but then they move their stop loss or increase size after a loss, or try to make back what they just lost. Real risk control is not just a number, it's protecting your capital so you can actually stay in the game long enough to improve, because one bad day or one emotional trade can wipe out weeks of progress. Then comes discipline, and not in a motivational way. Discipline is simply your ability to follow your plan, especially when you don't feel like it, after 2 losses in a row, after missing a trade, or when the market is moving and you feel like you're being left behind. That's when most traders break their rules. Next is consistent review. This is something almost no one does properly. Most traders don't track their trades in detail, they don't analyze their mistakes, and they don't look for patterns in their behavior. So what happens? They repeat the same mistakes again and again and wonder why nothing changes. And finally, the long-term mindset. Because if every trade feels important, you'll always be emotional. If you focus on one trade at a time, you'll break your rules trying to make that trade work. But when you think long-term, you start focusing on the process instead of the outcome. And when you look at all of this together, you start to realize something. Consistency doesn't come from finding a better strategy. It comes from building a system you actually follow. And one of the biggest parts of that system is how you manage risk, because this is where most traders think they're doing things right, but in reality, this is where the damage happens. Starting with position sizing, a lot of traders don't actually stick to a fixed risk. After a loss, they increase size trying to make it back. After a win, they hesitate or reduce risk. So even if the setup is the same, the results become inconsistent. Then there's stop loss discipline. This is where most accounts get damaged. Traders move their stop loss or remove it completely because they believe the trade will come back, and sometimes it does. But over time, that habit destroys consistency. Next is risk to reward. If your losses are bigger than your wins, you're always working against yourself. Even with a decent strategy, you won't stay consistent long term. And finally, daily loss limits. This is what protects you on bad days. Most traders don't stop. They keep trading, trying to recover. And one bad session turns into a major setback. So when you look at risk management properly, it's not just about how much you risk. It's about how you manage it, especially when things don't go your way. So once risk is controlled, you'd think things start to improve. But this is where another problem shows up, because even if the system is there, most traders still don't follow it properly. And that comes down to one thing: discipline. Starting with following your plan. This sounds simple, but it's where most traders fail. They have rules before entering a trade, but once they're in, everything changes. They close early, hold losers longer, or take trades that were never part of the plan. Then there's controlling your emotions. Fear and greed are always there. After a loss, you hesitate. After a win, you feel confident and take unnecessary trades. The problem is not having emotions. It's letting them control your decisions. Next is patience. A lot of traders lose money, not because of bad setups, but because they rush into trades that aren't there. They feel like they need to be in the market even when there's nothing to do. And that leads to unnecessary losses. And finally, staying focused on the process. Most traders focus on the outcome of a single trade. Did it win? Did it lose? But consistency doesn't come from one trade. It comes from executing properly, over and over again. So when you look at discipline properly, it's not about motivation. It's about whether you can follow your system, especially when it's uncomfortable. And even if you get discipline right, there's still one thing most traders are missing, because following your plan is one thing, But actually improving over time is something else completely. And that comes from review. This is where traders actually get better, starting with tracking every trade. Most traders don't do this properly. They remember a few wins, a few losses, but they don't have a clear record of what they're doing. And without that, you're relying on memory instead of facts. Then comes identifying mistakes, not just knowing you lost, but understanding why. Was it the setup? Was it your timing? Or was it breaking your own rules? Next is finding patterns, because over time, your trades start telling a story. You'll notice certain setups work better, certain mistakes repeat, certain conditions don't suit you, and that's where real clarity comes from. And finally, improving with data, not based on how you feel, but based on what actually shows up in your performance. And this is exactly why we built a structured dashboard, not just to track trades, but to give traders a clear view of what they're doing, what's working, and what needs to change. Because without this step, most traders stay stuck for years, not because they don't try, but because they never actually learn from what they're doing. And this is exactly why traders stay stuck, even when they're trying. It's not a lack of effort, it's the lack of a clear feedback loop. Most traders don't properly review what they're doing, so they repeat the same mistakes without realizing it. Then there's emotional decision-making, fear, frustration, overthinking. They start with a plan, but in the moment, emotions take over, which leads to inconsistent execution. Some trades follow the rules, others don't, and that creates random results, even with the same strategy. And finally, there's no structured guidance, no clear system, no process to follow, just trial and error. So they go in circles, trying, learning, trading, but never actually progressing. It was never a lack of effort. It was a lack of clarity, no transparency, no structure, just pieces that never fit together. Until now, not another strategy, not another shortcut. A system you understand, a system you can follow, a system that's yours, that's the difference. If you want help building your own, you know where to find us. MarketPath Consulting, built around you, not a strategy.